What's up, YouTube? This is Fable Grimro, back again with another deck profile. Today I'm giving you guys Worms. It's another archetype from the old dual terminal sets. Storyline-wise, they were essentially the primary antagonists of the first dual terminal storyline. The deck itself plays rather similar to a Little City or Hero Beat or Light Beat or whatever the deck is called now. Few monsters, few spell, lots of support. They're a very controlling deck, but definitely have a lot of explosive potential, and that's shown to be a pretty good deck for a little while. Have topped a few jumps, so let's check it out. First, I'll give you guys the gruesome twosome of 3 Worms X and 3 Worm Yagan. These guys are sort of the two main worms of the deck, as they give you both advantage and control. Zex, when he is normal summoned, you can send 1 reptile type worm monster from your deck to the graveyard, and if you control a face-up Worm Yagan, he can't be destroyed by battle. Yagan, if the only monster you control is a Worm Zex, you can special summon him from your graveyard in face-down defense position. When he is flipped face-up, you can return 1 monster on the field back to the hand, and if the special summoning effect was used, you have to remove him from play. Both are level 4s, Zex with 1800 attack and 1000 defense, and Yagan with 1000 defense and 1800 attack. So essentially they're opposites, but they work together very well, as sort of the opening play that you want is summon Zex, send Yagan to the graveyard, Zex is the only monster you have out, special summon Yagan face down, set your back row, Yagan can bounce a monster, and Zex can serve as a beater. So these two guys are like 1-2 as the backbone of Worm decks. Next up, 3 Worm Kararos, another level 4, 1200 attack. When this guy is flipped, you can add 1 reptile type worm monster from your deck to your hand. So he's essentially your recruiter. So if you open him and you want his Zex or Yagan to your hand, you just set him. When he gets flipped face up, you search. So another card to maintain advantage. Next up, 2 Worm King. This is sort of the big boss of the deck. 2700 attack. You contribute. You can be tribute summoning by attributing 1 worm type monster, although you usually don't want to bother with that, although it helps if you draw him. And then you contribute 1 reptile type worm monster to destroy 1 card your opponent controls. So he's essentially a giant worm Gravekeeper's Descendant. Get back to this guy later once we get to the trap cards, but most decks run 1 or 2. I like it at 2 in case if I do draw 1, and I won't have 1 in the deck, and it's possible to definitely summon out 2 very easily. So I like him at 2. Next up, Worm Lynx. This card, a lot of Worm decks have kind of cut him as he's extremely slow, but if you are able to leave him out for a few turns, you essentially should win the game, as you will gain massive advantage from his effect. What his effect is a flip effect. So set him, you flip him during each end phase. After he was flipped, you can draw a card. So you set him, he steps 5 after turn, you flip him, and he's only like 200 attacks, so he's pretty small, so you have to like really protect him. But during your end phase, you draw a card. During your opponent's end phase, you draw a card. So essentially, like after 1 end phase, he replaces himself. After that, it's all pluses. So this guy, he's slow. He's slow as heck. You have to protect him, but if you leave one out, he can gain you massive card advantage. 2, Thunder King Ryo, probably one of the best cards in the deck, meta or anti-meta wise. You guys know what he does. I only run 2 because he conflicts with some other cards in the deck, like Carteros and also Pot of Duality. But, you know, if you want to run 3, certainly run 3. I just have him at 2 right now. I also have 1 Fossil Dyna in S-Tech. You guys know what this guy does, too. He's just essentially another anti-meta card, prevents your opponent from special summoning, and destroys special summon monsters. So, like Thunder King, again, he's a card that you kind of have to play around a little bit with your deck, but he certainly will hurt your opponent more than he hurts you. 2, Gen X Ally Birdman, another card you guys should probably know what he does. The reason why he's in the deck, not only to give you guys easy synchro options, you make 7 stars all day, but you can access Gen X Ally Triforce, which is just an advantage engine all unto himself. So once we get to him, I'll explain that a little bit more, but I like this guy at 2. And then last, for monsters, 1, Honest. Most of your guys are little light monsters, and Honest helps you protect them and then get over your opponent's best monsters. For spells, Worms don't run very many spells, but they definitely do run 3 Pot of Dualities, just to grab whatever protection card or monster you might need at the time. Definitely run 3 Dualities in this deck. Dark Hole is just too good. Monster Reborn, no duh. Book of Moon, very good in this deck as you run a lot of flip effects, so you can reuse them, protect your guys. Definitely run Book of Moon. And then I also run 1 Future Fusion as I'm trying out Worm Zero in this deck. Essentially, this is the only way you're going to get Worm Zero out, so I'll explain more when I get to Worm Zero as well. Trap cards. This is the card that ties everything together. This is the reason why Worms are so good, and that is W Nebula Meteorite. This card is insanely broken. Lots of good stuff here. Let's just go through the effect. I'll zoom in a little bit. Change all face-down monsters on the field to face-up defense position. During the end phase of your turn, change all face-up light reptile monsters you control to face-down defense position. Then draw 1 card for each. After that, you can special summon 1 level 7 or higher light reptile monster from your deck. So, if you guys didn't get that the first time, I will show it to you. Alright, we have our standard Zex into Jagan play. And then you set a Nebula Meteorite here, right? During your opponent's turn, you flip the Meteorite. All face-down monsters get flipped, so you get Jagan's effect to bounce a card. So that's advantage right there. Then during the end phase, they get turn face down, you draw 2 cards, and then you special summon a Worm King. So you just plussed Imp. This is why I run 2 Worm Kings over 1, because if you draw one of those Worm Kings, you can't special summon it. So having 2 would leave more like you're more likely to draw one, but you're also more likely to have one in your deck as well for Meteorite. So Meteorite is sort of like the most broken thing for this deck. Run 3, because this card is why the deck is good. Also got 2 Bottomless Trap Holes, 2 T-Prisons. Again, I might try out Compulsory, as it's chainable. So it'd be better against like Inzectors, or if you get MST or something like that. 2 Warnings and Judgment, because everyone runs those. Mirror Force, 1 torrential. I might add a 2nd torrential in, but I still have it at 1 right now. Offering to the Snake Deity, this is essentially a reptile. It's almost it's a reptile version of Icarus Attack. Some differences, but same idea. I only run 1. I might actually bump this up to 2 as well if I can find some space. But this card is another very good card for worms. And then 2 Starlight Road, because Heavy Storm exists as well as Torrential at 2 and Black Rose and that kind of stuff. So you want to protect your back rows, as they're like outside of your core monsters. They're what keeps this deck going is your back rows. So 2 Starlight Roads. Quick note, if you didn't notice, I do not run Heavy Storm or MST in the main, but I side them. Most worm decks do this because of the amount of back rows that they run. They won't run Heavy Storm because it might be a dead draw. And MST, it's only a 1-for-1, and not a lot of decks run a lot of back rows. So most people cut MSTs for protection, but definitely you can main MSTs if you want to, but definitely side them. And as far as the extra deck, as I told you, I'm running Worm Zero in here. I won't go too much into it because his effect's really long, but essentially he gains 500 attack for each different worm that you use. I use 5, so he can only do that much. If he uses 2 monsters to fusion them, I can special summon 1 worm type monster from my graveyard face down. He uses 4, I can roof and play 1 worm type monster, destroy a card on the field. 6 I can't get because I only run 5 worms, so I'm just sort of testing this guy for the flavor and as just an engine. And it's worm purple, why wouldn't you use him? 2 Gen X Ally Triforce. This is the reason why you main Birdmans, and level 7 is extremely easy to make in this deck. The other 2 effects, I'm not even going to read you because you never want to, you don't go into them, but the one that matters is his light effect. And it's essentially, once per turn, you can special summon 1 light monster from your graveyard and face down defense. So he's like Worm Zero, but a little bit bigger. And this guy is just, free pluses, gets back Yagans that are in your graveyard, can get back Carteros, get back Lynx, get back a King that's in your graveyard. So this guy, probably the primary synchro monster for this deck. Most everything else in my extra deck is pretty standard, like Chimera Attack, you side Cyber Dragons, so you have to deal with machines. Utopia is probably the Exceed you're going to go into, as this deck does like going into rank 4s. So, Utopia, Roach. Another option, sort of off the beat, is Wind Up Zenmeister. I won't go too much into him, but his effect allows you to reuse flip effects. So you can reuse Yagan, reuse Carteros. I don't go into him very much, but he's an option. And then also the Chaos number 39 Utopia Ray. Again, I won't go into him, but he's another option. Seems kind of underwhelming at first, but if you get this guy out, which those situations do happen, he helps out to bring you back a lot. Double Stardust, because you run 2 Starlight Roads, and everything else in here is pretty standard. Wisworm, Scrap Dragon, Black Rose, Scrap Archfiend for level 7 options, if you don't want to go into Triforce. Yeah, Scrap Wisworm, Catastor. So, pretty standard extra deck, some oddities. So yeah, Worms, they proved to be a very good deck, controlling more like an anti-meta style, but very explosive, can be very fun, have some really broken stuff in here, so definitely check them out. So, hope you guys liked the video. Comment, rate, fix, let me know what you guys think. Peace out, YouTube.